So wonderful, guys. We made it to the last comic of the night. He's a wonderful guy. He's a president of Luther. And one of my best friends. Guys, give it up for Erich Laux, everybody. Erich Laux. Thank you.
I hope you're comfortable, lad. Welcome to my house. So those of you who don't know, we also have the house next door. And one day we were hanging out in that house. I happen to live in this one. And I decided to order a pizza for a group of us. And I was ordering online because it's 2014. And out of habit, I typed in this address. It was the middle of winter, and the guy gets here, he calls me. He's like, the pizza's here. I'm like, oh shit, it's cold outside. So I throw on my shoes. I jog over to this house. I scribble for the check real quick. I grab the pizzas, and I start jogging back to the other house. And about halfway there, I realize it kind of looks like I just stole my neighbor's pizza. I'm a little bit thirsty, so let me grab a beer real quick. Anybody else want one?
Erich, please.
Cheers. A lot of times, people ask me why I got into stand-up comedy, and they also ask me why I chose electrical engineering as my major, and they stem from the same kind of answer, really. My favorite superhero was always Iron Man, and he's a funny electrical engineer who was good with women. And I think 2 out of 3 isn't that bad. I get angry anytime I'm a half minute into a 30 Seconds to Mars song and I still feel like I'm on it. My buddy bought concert tickets the other day and he was telling me about it. He's like, yeah, I'm really excited for this concert. The tickets were overpriced but worth it. And at first that didn't make any sense to me. It sounds like a total contradiction. But then I started like thinking about it more, and maybe it's like chocolate covered bacon, like disgusting but tasty. Or like tequila shots, gross but alcoholic. Peeing your pants, like embarrassing but relieving. Or Bengal tigers, like deadly but so soft. Yeah. I'm 21 now, which is cool. The best part about being 21 is that you're no longer 20. 20 is just a weird age. Everything about 20 sucks. For example, at the age of 20, you're legally allowed to vote, but you're not legally allowed to vote while drunk. And I think if you were, like, politics would change. Like, the Republican Party would really push for, like, drunk young voters. Because statistically speaking, like, there's not many college kids voting for the Republican Party. But like, if we were drunk, like lost some motor control, like you go for one bubble, then it's like, shit, Mitt Romney. Or maybe you just like look at the names and you go, Newt Gingrich. Hey, this guy's name is Newt. Like the lizard. A friend of mine, I think she might have a drinking problem, and I didn't realize I thought that way about her until the day of her 21st birthday, and instead of texting her like, happy birthday, I texted her, don't die. And somehow I just always wind up in these situations where I'm taking care of my drunk friends. And I'm just gonna jump straight into the stories. One time, I was driving this girl back home drunk, and she was in the backseat of my car, crying and trying to call her boyfriend on the phone, but she had managed to get her phone into airplane mode. And she's like, it says emergency calls only, but this is an emergency! So I finally get her home, and she like lost her shoes along the way. And instead of just like going inside the house, she decides to just run off down the street with no shoes on. And I have to like try and get her back. So I like walk after her and I'm like, hey, like come back. And she sees me following her and she just stumbles faster and says, "You can't catch me. I've run a half marathon before." And keeps going. And half marathon is just kind of a weird thing to brag about. Because the hardest part about a marathon is the last 13 miles which you didn't complete. If I ever ran a half marathon, I would just say I ran a marathon. Because in 2nd grade they told me to round. So anyway, she's stumbling down the street and she stops, plops down to the street corner, and I'm trying to get her back and she won't come back until I offer a piggyback ride, which was the golden ticket, and everything worked out fine. Which is just a completely ridiculous story, and it brings up the point of this game we used to play called Drunk or Child, where you tell a story and then people guess if you were drunk or if you were a child when it happened. And that story is kind of an automatic win, because she ran away from home with no shoes on and refused to come back until offered a piggyback ride. So with that in mind, I would like to now play a quick game of Drunk or Child. Feel free to yell out your guesses. So the story is, one time I accidentally lost my keys down an elevator shaft.
Drunk.
Child.
Drunk.
The answer is both. So, I'm not sure if you guys know this, and I'm not sure why you would, but when you lose your keys down an elevator shaft, they call the maintenance guy. And the maintenance guy comes and he sent the elevator to the top floor, which in this building was only 2 floors, and some of you are judging me like, "Why don't you take the stairs, fat ass?" I was drunk. And a child. But he sends it to the top floor, he opens the door, he looks down in the elevator shaft, and he's like, "I see your keys." Now this is probably a good point in the story to point out a major difference between me and the maintenance guy. And that difference is, he has clearly never seen the movie Final Destination. Because he looks at the keys, he looks up the elevator, he looks at the keys, turns to me and says, "I think I can make it." And I guess the good ending of the story is that I did get my keys back. The bad ending of the story is the guy died. Yogi Bear is always arguing with people that he's smarter than your average bear. And I agree with him. I mean, at least he knows English. Shout out to my old roommate, Nate. We planned that. Thank you for sticking along for this show. This is awesome. I'm glad we're doing this, and you're all welcome back to Luther House anytime. So, one last story. I'm sorry to put it on a dump, but breakups are just kind of a shitty thing to go through. Whenever you like break up with someone face to face, everyone just leaves sad, and for some reason, people just look down on phone breakups. And I mean, I disagree. Like, my ideal way to break up with someone is like with a carrier pigeon. Like, maybe they're sad, but at least they get a new pet. I knew one girl who knew Morse code. I broke up with her via telegraph. Like, nobody owns a telegraph, so I had to like give her a telegraph. You can't just like give someone a telegraph, so I had to like wait for her birthday. I didn't break up with her on her birthday. I mean, come on, I waited till Christmas. It was by far the most difficult breakup I've ever gone through. It took me like 6 months to learn Morse code. Why do you guys hate me so much? But so, I'm trying to break up with her via telegraph, and I start the conversation, And we get to the point where she sends me this message that says, do you think we should still keep dating? And I send a message back and I says, I think we should. Stop. Alright, that's my set. Thank you all for coming.